Welcome back, guys. Chris from Decisive Coaching with another little back to basics video, and this one is all about if we're going right back to basics, because ultimately this channel is all about having more of what it is that you do want. This channel is not focusing on more of what you don't want, which is where most people, they are falling short. Because what I want to talk to you today about is the sat nav that we have within our brain. Yeah, everyone has got a sat nav, a navigation system built within their brain, and most people don't know that we had it. I didn't most of my life. I wasn't aware of this. I kind of noticed maybe some coincidences happening throughout my life, but when we look back at the amount of coincidences that we have in our life, throughout our life, is that needs questioning, doesn't it? So that's what I want to talk to you about. So the law of attraction really is what this video is all about, but explaining a little bit closer to what it really is and how it actually works and how we can take more control of that part of our brain that is involved with the law of attraction. So I've got a picture here of a computer chip in someone's brain by Bill Gates. Only joking. It's just a generic picture. It's not actually anything to do with our reticular activating system, this great big computer chip. I just quite like the picture. I like the colors. Anyway, so where you see my cursor right here, now that is the brain stem. It's the early part of our brain. Our evolutionary development of our brain used to be only about this big, and its sole purpose really was to get us to survive through life, because we was an animal. Okay, it was just an animal that had predators, and we had to focus on what is important to us in any one moment, because at any time we could have got attacked and killed and eaten. So we have obviously we've retained this part of the brain. It's still important to us today. Its sole purpose. Okay, so we will get to the law of attraction part, but hear me out. This is important. Its actual purpose is to filter information or prioritize information coming in through our senses, through our ears and our eyes and up our nose, through touch, through our fingertips, and through all of our senses, our taste and our nasal, our olfactory and gustatory, it's called, isn't it? Technical words, of course. So all of the information that comes in through our senses. If you haven't watched the previous video that I made about NLP and the neuro-linguistic programming model of how we process information, you may well want to go back and watch that one. So its sole purpose, its actual purpose, okay, its evolutionary developmental purpose is to filter information, to prioritize it, because we can't take in all of the information that's going on around us at any one time. It would send us insane and our brain would explode. Probably not literally, but you know what I mean. So it prioritizes information into more useful and more based along the lines of what it is that we need. What is it that we need? What is it that we want? What is it that we're prioritizing? What are we focusing on most of all? So what we are focusing on most of all, this reticular activating system, it filters out anything other than what we make important. It filters out everything other than what we make important. So imagine this. Imagine that you are going through life, or having long, prolonged periods of your life, kind of a bit down in the dumps and focusing on more of what it is that you don't want and what you don't like about other people and what you don't like about your family and your siblings and your parents and the TV and the government and the weather and the things that people are saying in your local pub up the road on a regular basis. If you're focusing on more of what it is that you don't want, all you're really doing is you're filtering out other information that could be useful. Okay, you may well be filtering out or rejecting vital information that could come in really handy. Okay, have you ever had a situation where perhaps you bought something new, something quite significant and something new, and your focus and attention's been on it and you finally got it? Maybe it's a car and you're driving up the road and all of a sudden you see the same colour car, at least the same colour. You'll see the same car everywhere, whereas before you didn't really see it. The reason, of course, it's simple, is if you weren't really paying attention and you weren't focusing on it, you wasn't making it anything important to you, you probably wouldn't have seen it, even though it would have always been there. So how do we use this to our advantage, and what's this got to do with the law of attraction? So the law of attraction ultimately is, it's the reticular activating system is finding what we make important to us by noticing it. So it's noticing things really and stuff that's already there, that's going on around us. But if we make something important to us, and the more specific that we make, what is it that we do want, what do we want to achieve, what is it that I want to be able to afford to buy, the more specific that we get to it, what that does, it will start including anything closely related to your outcome, to your, let's call it a goal. So if you have a goal of maybe starting up your own business, well, that's quite generic, isn't it? That's quite a broad statement. I want to start up my own business. If you was to make that really, if you was to narrow that down and be more specific, okay, I want to start up my own window cleaning business, for example. It just reminded me my windows need cleaning. So anyway, I want to start my own window cleaning business. Okay, how can you be more specific than that? I want to start up a window cleaning business that is specifically for a certain radius or a location. Okay, that's narrowed it down more. How can you narrow it down even more than that? Perhaps you want to do and provide a better service than anyone else is doing in that area, and then start thinking, how can I make it even more unique than anyone else that's doing it? How can I provide an even better service than everyone else that's currently doing window cleaning? And what you do is you narrow it down to the finest details and be as specific as you possibly can. Now, what does this do? It programs your brain to find anything and listen and hear and see and even smell anything related to your outcome, anything related to your goal. Because if we're not specific, it will kind of pick up on the broad aspects that kind of relate to your goal, and it won't be specific enough. So that's the law of attraction, really. That's why they say, look, have a vision board and stick photographs of everything that you want, or anything related to what it is that you want, and be really specific, and stick them all over your fridge or over your wall in your bedroom or wherever you're going to see it a hell of a lot. That's why they do that. It's to program the reticular activating system. So in other words, it's allowing more information to come in that's closely related to your outcome or your goal. Your brain will then notice more information. It will see and hear and experience more information related to your goal. It's as simple as that. Here's where the problem arises. Here is where it relates to the lack of information in The Secret. Is where it didn't really tell you, look, you got to take some action. It kind of lacked in that area, didn't it? Now, how do we take action? Well, when you are perhaps you're in a public place and you happen to be chatting with somebody, and in the background over here somewhere you're hearing a conversation going on, and you're hearing words like ladders and squeegees and buckets and sponges, and people talking about, maybe they're saying, my window cleaner's not very good lately, or whatever. You get my point. So something will be being talked about that's related to your goal. Make sense? You see, these opportunities, because that's what we call an opportunity. That's an opportunity that you need to grab. You take that. You venture into that. You approach that. Wherever that's coming from, that information that you're hearing, you go over there. If it's quite specific, that's an indicator that the law of attraction is at work. And basically those couple of people would have already always have been standing there having a conversation perhaps about their window cleaners not doing a particularly good job. It just so happens that you are now thinking about a new goal of starting a business, setting up a window cleaning business, and of course that links together, doesn't it? Kind of how it happens is that links to that. Both that would have been happening anyway. So the fact that we have to focus on what it is that we do want. Productive things, all about growth. Focus and think about growth rather than destruct or focusing on what you don't want in life. Because if you think about it, if you are somebody that focuses mostly on what it is that you don't want, and that is what you make important to you all of the time, focusing on perhaps other people's problems, what you don't like about other people, maybe even talking about other people's conversations, maybe being judgmental about other people. So all you're doing is setting up your reticular activating system to seek and search and actually find more of what it is that you do not want. I hope that helps, guys. So what is it that you need to do? Focus more very specifically on what it is that you do want and take action on the opportunities that do just so happen to keep cropping up in front of you. That's the bit where people, they go wrong, if you like. That's when the law of attraction doesn't work for you, and that is because the opportunities that crop up, we don't approach them. Why don't we approach them? Because we're fearful of rejection. We may well get told piss off by that person for butting into their conversation. Hey, it doesn't matter, does it? So fear of rejection, fear of failure, the mental and emotional fears that prevent the thing called the law of attraction, which is really just a natural phenomena that's happening all around us. We're all exposed to this law of attraction. It really is setting your attentions, knowing exactly what it is that you want, and be very specific about what you want, and take action on those vital little clues, those little opportunities that they say the universe puts in front of us. Perhaps it is putting it in front of us. Set your intentions, take action on the opportunities, and you'll get exactly what it is that you want. That's where coaching really comes in handy, and the part really is where we have these fears of rejection, fears of failure. That's the stuff that a coach can help you with. Hope that helps, guys, and I look forward to seeing you on the next Back to Basics video. Take care.